Ladies and gentlemen, I have returned. Yeah, sorry. Not a whole lot going. Well, a lot of things going on. I know I say that every time, but that's the truth. So deal with it. But I thought I'd cut to the chase. Booknarks, things are happening. We recorded an episode coming soon. Oh, I was gonna play a show with International Karate. Turns out I had a schedule conflict, so I'm not playing that show. Again, Sound Unseen Film Festival starts next week. That's pretty much it. Now, on to the questions. So most of these come from YouTube. I just kind of went with all of those for now. There's a lot of emails and things, but so somebody named C Diddy 609 asks, C Diddy 609, what are some of your favorite foods to eat while on tour? Not just on the bus, but in the various cities you are in. What do you find comforting / delicious? Mostly coffee. Yeah, I usually wake up, I try to find a coffee shop, I get two of the largest, or I get one of the largest things I can consume, drink that, then get another one on my way out. I try to eat light. Dessert has become a problem in the past, but when I can, I try to eat light because I don't want to vomit on stage. So that's pretty much my rule. And yeah, it's crazy. I usually lose a lot of weight when I'm on tour, but then when I get home, I gain it all back. So, but yeah, it's weird. I don't really eat a lot when I'm on tour. C Diddy also asks, what are your favorite buildings? I thought this was interesting. Not a building, but a train. So yeah, I didn't really answer your question, but my favorite building is the Bullet Train in Japan. Doesn't make any sense, but I couldn't think of a building. I don't know, I'm not like a big building guy. But I love riding on the Bullet Train. It's my favorite thing to do. Not that I've done it a lot, but every time we've gone to Japan and have multiple shows, that's how we get from place to place. Other than that, and I can't think of any off the top of my head, but various bookstores and coffee shops. That's usually where I spend most of my time when on tour, other than my bunk. But yeah, thanks for the questions. Electro Shaky asks, Electro Shaky? I don't know. Is there a story behind your hair? Yes. And his name is Johnny Kelson, and he works at Mezzanine Salon. He owns and operates and works at Mezzanine Salon. It's in the Seward neighborhood of Minneapolis, Minnesota. I suggest you contact him to get your head cut. But yeah, I've been seeing him since 1997 maybe, somewhere around there, late 90s. Yeah, rad cat. Freddie G asks, why doesn't Motion City Soundtrack play anything prior to I Am the Movie? Brackets, Promenade / Carolina, Back to the Beat, ? Why don't we play the 3 songs we released before I Am the Movie? Actually, Promenade's probably the only one that we don't play, and I don't think we ever learned that. But, and part of Carolina got recycled into Time Turned Fragile, so that nixed that. And we do play Back to the Beat. Where have you been, man? We play that all the time. As well as Throwdown here and there and some other things. But we don't really have a whole lot of stuff before that, so that was a dumb question. Just kidding. There are no dumb questions, just dumb people. I cannot pronounce your name. Ciaois, Ciaoies, asks, if you had a job outside of the music / film industry, what do you think it would be? Well, I do. I'm a digitizer for an embroidery company called Heritage Embroidery and Design. It's my parents' embroidery company. They do screen printing, embroidery work, and I'm their digitizer. So I've been doing that since 1989, I think. But yeah, so I do have another job. As far as the music and film industry, I'm still trying to break into it, so I'll let you know how it goes. RRRSTCM asks, which of your songs are the most difficult for you to play live because of how personal they are, or are any of them incredibly difficult? Great question. I'd say about 7 to 10 years ago, it was really tough. I didn't feel the same way as I had when I wrote the song, so it was hard for me to wrap my head around, having to sing things that were no longer true or accurate. You know, it got so bad to the point where I'd start crying on stage like in the middle of songs. It was just fucking crazy. It was a mess. But then I grew the fuck up, and you know, I just kind of, you know, it's I'd say it's not like it's acting, but I think anybody who is on stage, it's like a heightened version of themselves or something. And I have, like, even recording this, I'm different than I am when I'm not recording stuff. I think there's a nervous energy that sort of like propels me through situations, and I just learned to harness that and deal. You know, I think you either learn to adapt or you don't. And lucky for me, I did. You know, you take a song like Future Freaks Me Out. I talk about Will and Grace, drum and bass, and cellular phones in particular. And, you know, I think at a certain point you just have to let it go and realize that there's no way you can sing certain things without looking like a big dummy. And, you know, and that's what I get for referencing things that were happening at that time. But, yeah, I don't know. The truth is weird. I'd say that, you know, you write what you know when you know it, and then time happens and things change. So, you know, I used to just write. Yeah, I don't know. This is hard to answer. I used to just write things that were true to me at the time, just kind of out with it. And now I think in the last few years I figured, oh, this true thing that happened over here, plus this true thing that happened over here, plus this true thing that happened over here, I can combine them and create something, a new truth, you know. And that's something that I figured out how to do a few years ago. Did that make any sense? I don't know, and I don't care. I do care. Victoria Hempstead asks, I would love to learn about how and why you started a band. What was the project like, and how did it impact you, and how did you get the confidence to go about it? Another great question. And the answer is alcohol. I kid. But, yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed playing music. It's something I did. But I really wanted to make movies. And I think I've said this before in interviews, but I think when I was 18 or 19, I decided I was finished with music. I was done with music. I had done all I needed to. And I was moving on. And it was Josh Kane, who I'd met in high school. He sought me out, found me, and decided we were going to start a band together. And like, he really was the driving force behind Motion City Soundtrack. And he's the guy who made it all happen. He just sort of like, you know, dragged me around from place to place and thing to thing. And, you know, music was just something I did for fun until suddenly one day it became a job. And I honestly think it was somewhere around the time of, like, Even If It Kills Me, where I was like, oh, wait, I'm a musician. This is what I do for a living. Like, it just didn't hit me. Like, it just somehow happened. So, you know, now being 10 to 15 years later, I'm just incredibly grateful that, you know, I had these experiences and that I had somebody to drag me through them. I hope that doesn't sound like horrible. Like, it's just that I was not with it as a human, you know. You know, looking back, I just wish that I had been more aware of what was happening while it was happening, because it would be great to have all of those memories, and I do have some, but you know, it wasn't really until I got sober that that I could appreciate it from a whole different level. So I don't know if I answered your question. It's kind of like, yes, you too can be a fuck up and succeed. That's not what I mean. What I mean is that, or what I think is important, is that you do something because you love it, and it is fun to you, and whatever happens, happens. And at the end of the day, if you never get to do that thing for a living, at least you have those songs and that stuff that you've created that you can be proud of. And so I just happened to get very lucky because I had a guy who was a go-getter who made things happen. And then, yeah, and so now I'm at a place where I can be appreciative, and yeah, I don't know, I'm just enjoying the fact that the ride is still going and I am still on it. And as far as confidence goes, I hope I never acquire real, true confidence. I have oodles and oodles of fake confidence. You know, I think a lack of confidence leads to having something to prove, you know. So pretty much every night I have this feeling before I get on stage that I am terrified, but I have no choice. This is happening. Let's do this. All right, I'll end there. Thanks for listening.